This is Frederick from the channel Detroit Berlin, channel about music production, modular gear, eurorack, and the module I will be talking about today is the Klavis Tweakers. It's kind of a dual offset generator, but also can add gain and switch polarity of the incoming signal. You have two channels that can do all that. And I think that's a module that needs to be in every system, not the first module you buy. If you have an oscillator, some LFO, VCO, a few other modules like a mixer and stuff, then it is very interesting if you add an offset generator to make the system you already have so much more capable and open up some more possibilities and just help in some instances where the module can really make the difference. Let's quickly explain the patch, what I was doing, running a sequence on the Moog Matriarch, and what the offset generator is doing is it's sending an offset, so it's adding a voltage to some oscillators to create a direct switch in pitch. When I switch the switch, then I get the offset sent to the oscillator and you get kind of a chord. And what this Klavis offset generator, the tweakers from Klavis, is so good at, you can have two offsets and you set one and you set the other, and you can apply one offset and then send another offset to another oscillator or to the same oscillator, and so on, switch between different offsets, and that makes a sequence that is pretty simple and pretty repetitive. It can switch it up, it can add something. The input of the tweakers, it will not only attenuate the signal from 0 to 100%, but it will also add some gain. Let's first go over the controls, the inputs, the outputs, and how the module internally works. And then maybe let's have a look at the oscilloscope afterwards and see how a voltage can be affected by the offset generator and why you should have one in your system. If we go from top to bottom, you've got input A and B. Input A, which is normalized to input B. If you insert cables into input A and B, they work as separate inputs. You got section A and section B, which are identical. Section A, the top knob, is the input. So the input knob goes from 0 to, I think in the middle it will be about 100% of original signal. If you turn the knob further clockwise, you will add gain, and gain goes to 2.1 times the incoming signal. And then you got the offset, which can go down or go up in voltage without an incoming signal. The offset in the middle is not offsetting anything. Then it's going into the negative when you turn it counterclockwise, and when you turn it clockwise it will add voltage, so it will deviate the incoming signal by the amount you take for the offset. Then you got a switch. In the middle position there is no signal passing through. The offset and the incoming signal are totally off. When you switch it to the positive side, it will just pass through the signal to the input, to the offset, and it will output the offset signal. When you switch it into the negative, it will first take the signal, inverse the signal, then you got the input, gain adjust, and the offset. If you have like a positive ADSR, you can make it a negative ADSR and then offset the ADSR upwards or downwards, if that makes sense. The second section, the B section, is exactly the same. It works the same. So you have the off position, the on position in a positive sense, and an inversed one with the switch in the negative setting. The offset, when turning clockwise, it will still add an offset. When you turn it counterclockwise, it will still subtract a particular amount of voltage. Then you got the outputs, output A and B. They're mixed. So if you put a signal into A and B, you make two offsets, then that is mixed. When you don't plug anything in output A, then it's mixed with output B, and there you can take the combination of the signals. If you plug something in output A and in output B, then you got two separate signal outs. It's a pretty versatile module. It's also only 3 HP wide, so it's pretty compact. It's nice to have a switch to quickly switch it on, switch it into the negative, make various combinations of inputting and outputting signals. You don't have to input any signal to use the module. You can just use it without plugging anything in. That makes it extremely versatile for such a small module, and it's extremely useful in anyone's system. Adding an offset generator can help you in fine-tuning, in having an easy way and an affordable way to transpose signals or transpose voltages. You can use it as kind of a really simple mixer. You can use it as kind of a multiple that also offsets the incoming voltage. It's also extremely simple and straightforward. So I would say give it a try. And let's now take the oscilloscope and see what it actually does to a voltage. I have a saw waveform going into the tweakers. I put both inputs on bypass, so the red waveform on the oscilloscope is a direct waveform from the oscillator. The green line is the line from the Klavis Tweakers. We can switch it to the positive, then the green line becomes the sawtooth wave and it overlaps the red one, so the signal is identical. You can also put it into the negative, and then we turn the signal around, we make a polarity switch. The slope of the saw wave is pointing into the other direction. Let's put it in positive. That means with the input at 12 o'clock, it will just pass through the incoming signal at 100% without any offset. When I tweak the offset clockwise, it will add voltage. When I move it counterclockwise, it will subtract voltage. So let's put it back in the 12 o'clock position. Then I've got the input B, because input A is normalized to input B and I have nothing plugged into this input, so it's normalized. When I switch it on, input is at 0%, nothing happens. When I add some gain, the signal is mixed with the A signal because I'm taking output B. When I take output A, it's only input A. So when I send a signal to input A and take the signal from output B, then it is working kind of in parallel and it's mixing the two channels, the A and the B. So when I add gain, it is adding up. When I switch it to the inverted signal, yeah, then when I add some gain, it will mix it and it will of course subtract because I'm adding a negative voltage. So let's keep it in the positive. Then it will of course clip. If I'm adding too much gain, I can also do it on input A, but now we're focusing on the B section. And then when I move the offset, I can make it go down or up. So when it becomes useful is when you have a unipolar waveform. In this instance, I'm using the flex shaper, which is a voltage controlled signal shaper. More on that in another episode. I'm using that because it has a unipolar and a bipolar output. I'm using that unipolar output to make an example of how you can use the tweakers to create a bipolar signal from a unipolar signal. On the oscilloscope you can see that the red line is the unipolar waveform, the saw wave, and when I switch on the tweakers, the gain is at 12 o'clock, which means that the signal is just coming in and going out of the module and the offset is not set. So there you see the green line, it is overlapping the red one. That means signals are exactly the same. And now with the second channel, I'm switching it on. Let's move it down and then add some gain to make it a bit louder, and then you see it is going into the positive as into the negative, the waveform, which makes it a bipolar waveform again. This is an extremely great module, the tweakers, to create unipolar signals out of bipolar signals, or vice versa, create bipolar signals out of unipolar signals. It is very useful and I think everybody should have one in his system. It's affordable, it's really small, and it can help you in so many ways. If you want to attenuate something, if you want to add a little bit of gain, if you just want a control voltage, if you want to mix two signals, when you want to add or subtract, or when you want to transpose something once or even twice, or a combination of the two. I think this is a really simple but brilliant module. So yeah, I like it. It's pretty small. The knobs are those tiny knobs, so it might not be for real tweaking, but these switches are great for performing. That's how I will be using it, using the switches to transpose, to add voltages instantly. Highly recommended. I would like to thank you for watching. Please give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. More Klavis modules will follow in the future. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hope to see you next time. Maybe I do some more Klavis modules or maybe something else. Let me know in the comments down below and hope to see you soon. Bye bye.